Hello, hello, and welcome wherever you are in the world. Welcome to Hello Chime In. We decided to do a podcast surprise at the last minute because we were having a conversation in the green room as to what does it really look like when you say that you want to be a brand new you? What does it take? What do you need to do? And what it may or may not look to someone else as to whether they believe you or not. I would like to welcome my co host, my daughter, Juvelka.
Hi, how are you? Yeah, so we do ask the question, what does it look like to become a brand new you? I do music, and one of my famous lines is everybody's acting like they know the new me, but they don't know the new me. So, it poses the question, what do you think?
I mean, it looks to the people on the outside, it can look like so many things because it takes a moment for people who know you from the past or from people that raised you up to think of you as a brand new person. To me, what it looks like is little changes within myself. Maybe I take better time management. Maybe I do my hair in a different style. Maybe I'm deciding to change the way that I eat. When I come out and I say, "Oh, look, I'm trying to do a brand new me," it encompasses all of it, like a whole total brand new me, because I can see it. That doesn't mean everybody else can see it.
Yeah, I feel like definitely starting with a list might help. A list of things you want to accomplish or what you want what morals you want to abide yourself to. Like what do you want it to look like? It's always good to start with some type of roadmap to where you're trying to go. So if you're at one place, you don't want to stay stagnant. You want to try to write down as much as you can, getting to where you want to go. That's what I think. I wrote a lot. I journaled a lot. It kind of helps you reflect on certain things, even if you have dark moments. Because I know, like, I've had dark moments here and there, not long periods of time, so that's where it's different, but just moments where you're kind of stuck in either a cycle of thinking or a train of thought that is hard to break free from. So I think that writing things down, maybe a list, would help when you're trying to navigate through that.
I mean, I agree. I agree. I started out with a list and on post-its, and then it started that post-its were everywhere. Then I became a hoarder. Like I hoarded post-its, and then I'm putting post-its everywhere. And I started looking like how often do I look at those messages that I put on the post-it. Sometimes it would be scribble, like I'll put in affirmations. I am a leader. I get better every single day. I prepare to succeed. And then I put a little reminder at least one time a day just to get the affirmations going. But you can really start collecting these little post-its everywhere. The key is that you notice, that you yourself notice that there's a change within you, because it's going to take a little bit longer to convince other people that are in your immediate circle. And this is not to say that you have to convince them. The reason why I brought that in is because sometimes it's those same very people in your immediate circle that pull you down as you're trying to change. And then they remind you of what you did before, what you didn't do, or how similar it looks like.
I think it's almost better or easier when you realize like the stuff that you do doesn't have to be for other people. So it's like you get to a point where you stop caring whether or not other people support you in what you're doing. You're just like, listen, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I feel like is right. So I'm going to move in this direction, and anyone who's for me will move with me and help me or guide me. And if you're not going to do that, then, like our mutual friend said, looking at yourself in the mirror, it's hard to lie when you're looking at yourself straight in the mirror. So if you're trying to become a brand new you, it's like you got to kind of reflect on things you've done that you want to change. So maybe past actions or whatever it is that looks like for you. I don't know. I haven't done that actually recently, but I did it a while ago when I had to like stare at myself in the mirror and what did I see on some Mulan. like Mulan vibes.
I do that every day. Every day I look at myself in the mirror and I ask myself, like, how are you today? If it's in the afternoon, I'm like, how did your day go? And then I'll look at my own self in the mirror, like, just to, not to keep all those emotions, thoughts, and energies within my body if I haven't had a chance to write it out. And it's not like when you said, it doesn't matter what other people say. It's not that it doesn't matter because none of us are an island. We are social beings. We were meant to find our place, our tribe, just like Maslow says, that we need to feel security and we need to feel like we belong. So it's not that it doesn't matter what other folks say. It's just that my belief is that much stronger, within myself. And although you can't see the change right now, I know within me, I'm not going to give up and keep going. Because if I listen to you, I might get triggered. I might regress because your words matter to me, especially if it's somebody that you care about or somebody that you respect. Their words matter. When it comes to general population, I mean, yeah, some people want to be liked. It's nice to be liked, but I've gotten past that point. Like, I'm so secure in spirit in my own personal relationship with the Almighty that it's not that I don't care what you say. It's just that what you say, if it's not in line with my purpose, it can bounce right off of me. It
Oh,
doesn't go in too deep,
that
to
makes
hurt
sense.
me as a scar. But I
That
do care.
See, I never knew that about you, what you just said. But I think that for
Tell
me,
me a little bit more about that. What didn't you know?
I just wanted to, before I lose my train of thought, brush up on something really quick that you brought in, like the spirit. You have the power of spirit within you. Um, I feel like for me, it comes to a certain point when you go through certain events that might spark on change. Not everyone has to go through something like this, but you go through certain things and you realize that you have greatness within you, and then when you call for answers, 9 times out of 10, you receive those answers. However, your navigation looks like. So you might make a few turns here, a few turns there, but you always get exactly what you ask for once you're in tune with your spirit. So when you say, like, not that it doesn't matter because we're all social beings, it is like that. Because sometimes you may not have a physical support system, so it's cool to call people and talk to people and maybe the neighbors or whoever, but you don't feel people really see you. When you become in tune with your divine energy, it becomes a lot easier to not give up because you know that you're meant for greater things, or you know that you're on a greater path. So, spirituality definitely weighs a role for some people. Maybe not for others, but some people definitely may resonate with that. So, I'm glad you brought that into it, because I know that for me, I resonate with it. I find my faith, and I learn more about it every day that I choose to study, because there's so many different variations, so many different ideologies, so many different views. So I really find it interesting and to be open minded when it comes to that. Because I think it's about, really quick, sorry, but it's about like the moral behind everything. When you put, like, almost having faith in a higher power is almost like saying, you believe that other humans are not greater than you and you're not greater than them. You look at everybody as an equal, and then some people do wrong to you, but you're taught to, like, find greatness within yourself. So that's like you said, it's not that it doesn't matter, but it just kind of, you able to brush it off more easier. And when you choose down, certain other paths, you can get caught in this loop of selfishness without realizing. Maybe you come off cocky, maybe you're a little bit greedy, like just certain things. So it's like the morals of the stories, like, oh, hey, be careful, because when you make these kinds of decisions, this is usually what happens. Like a parent would say to a child, almost, you don't mean to take the big bad wolf story literal. You mean like the gist of it. So that's kind of, so far, um, how I felt when it comes to change, to
And
reflect.
it's not and in harmony with what you're saying, when you said to go to brush it off, A lot of people mistake that, oh, well, I'm going to take what you said to me and I'm going to brush it off. Sometimes it's not easy to brush it off because of the mouth that it came out of. It could be, like I said, that person that you love so much that you're shocked that they even had said this type of opinion to you, or that they thought that way about you. I can only speak from my personal experience. It's not that I was able to brush it off in the beginning, because it hit me hard. It hit me in my heart that, I spent many times, crying in the shower, just whenever I was alone and something would remind me of this person, or remind me of something that they said about me that really hurt. I would cry, but I processed that so much that it got to the point that I had to be real with myself. Was what they saying about me real? Did they say something that's a fact about me, but I didn't realize it, or I didn't see it that way? And I go into the self analysis. And in that processing, it's almost like it gives me a thicker skin, but not a hardened heart. So I'm able to receive your information, but I'm able to be like, I think I know how she meant it, or wow, she was really trying to hurt me, but I didn't let that hurt me too bad. Or really, oh wow, this person is really trying to, or not even if that they're trying. It's just that you give the power to allow those words to affect you that way. And it takes a little practice. Going through the motions and analyzing every situation gets you that much closer to knowing yourself. And once you know yourself, you're able to know what may or may not, what you allow to hurt you or not. Many things can be hurtful, and sometimes you can't deflect that because the person that you respected, or you caught you off guard real quick. It's almost having like a little crack, and a little bit of that went in, and you're like, oh, let me seal it up real quick. But some of it already penetrated, because the body keeps the score through the senses. What I see gets recorded, what I hear gets recorded, what I smell gets recorded. So it's not that something that I brush off right away. It's a development. I processed it so much that for certain things I'm able to brush it off.
Or at least make it look like you brushed it off, because there's a lot of silent battles, like you said. um, when you discover things about yourself, you might come to find that there's some things you don't like, whether that's your fault or somebody else's fault. Doesn't really matter at that point, because you're trying to change for future generations. So you're trying to break generational curses, whether you were susceptible to certain types of trauma. um, you might find things that you don't like, and as long as you're identifying them and trying to work through them and change them, or whatever types of self-care you choose to participate in, that's really what matters. Because when you take the first step is wanting to change and identifying, hey, there may be something abnormal here, or there may be something that's I need to take to the next level, not necessarily abnormal. um, and it's a process, so everybody's pace is different. It's almost like how they say you can't compare kids. You can't compare people's trauma and their journey. Can't compare people's trauma journey. Like, it happens when it happens. Everyone, you used to tell me that I'll get to the point one day where I'll realize enough is enough, and I'll have to stand on my own 2 feet and defend what I believe in, whether I know what 100% what that is. And I feel like that it's true, whether it's relationships, whether it's just life in general, whatever gets you down, eventually you either get to this point where you're just like, enough is enough. And you find whatever strengthens you. What strengthens me can be completely different than what strengthens you. Like, for me, what gave me strength was Anaya. That was a big thing. My faith gave me a lot of strength, and then just things that I've known to be true about myself. When I was on my journey of trying to figure out who I am, I was like, well, I know I'm not that, and I know that that made me feel really good. So it's all about trial and error, and you learn from this and you learn from that. And I learned who was real in my circle, because that's another important thing. When you're on the way up, you have to watch around you, who's in your circle.
It took me a while to realize who was real in my circle. What I did discover very quickly is who wasn't.
Yeah, that's what I meant to say.
Who wasn't. And it hurt, because you can look at a pretty face, male or female, right? A pretty looking person, and then you hear them say nice things about you, like, hey, you're an amazing person. And in the same space, they can say the opposite about you or behind your back.
Yeah.
So it took me a while to realize, those people that speak and that their words match their actions. And the only way that I was able to see it better was when I analyzed myself. Do my words match my actions? Because it's difficult to ask of someone else what you don't ask of yourself. So, in the process of being brand new, I started a brand new routine. And did I fall on my face? I still fall on my face to this day. Like for the past 5 years, I have my last child, the last Mohicans of my tribe, and he's going to be 6 in 2 months. Now, since I've been pregnant with him, I really didn't worry about. I was like, I'm going to be comfortable. I don't care how much weight I gain. But as I see him moving around, he can run a lot faster than me. And this is the only child I have not been able to catch when they run. It's like my foot hurt, my heel hurts, I'm hopping, I have too much weight, I got two tires under my boob, I look like a caterpillar with all the segments, and I'm like, can I run after him? No, I can't. Why? Because I haven't exercised. I'm too heavy. I can feel my arms moving. I can feel the extra weight. I'm about 190 pounds when my normal weight would be anywhere in my younger days between 120 and 130. My comfortable weight is 150. So if I do that math from 190 to 150, it's 40 pounds that I need to get rid of. Have I been committed to that? Eh, I say it's a brand new me, but I'm very slow in that area. I know I need to give up bread. So it's a process. Just because you fall on your face doesn't mean that you're not trying to be a brand new person.
It's almost
Just
like what you told me before when I was battling my depression, and sometimes anxiety, which I still face, but it's a little bit different these days. It's more manageable. But you told me it's almost like you're not scared to face certain battles because you know you faced them before. So you know the more experience you get going through life, the more times you fall on your face, the more areas you know to avoid when you land. Because you know, okay, last time I fell and I scraped my knee, so that had me out of commission. This time I'm going to try to fall this way. Or let me not try to fall. Let me try to see if I could land on my feet this time, but still have to get back up. And you just like learn different cheat codes. But everybody has their own cheat codes, and my cheat codes aren't going to work for you. You might have different cheat codes. But this is, I like to do the hop, skip, jump. You might like to do the skip, jump, hop. Like, I don't know. It might be backwards, but
and roll and roll
yeah,
and
like
roll.
that's why they teach you stop, drop, and roll when you're a kid. Like, they're teaching you the first main cheat code. Don't go on fire. That's rule number one in life. Don't catch on fire. No,
And
let
if
me
you
stop.
catch on fire, you know, um, just figuratively, just hypothetically, if you do, just know that you can put out that particular type of fire. Although there might be some damage, there can be some cleanup. It
Yeah,
might not be the same, but it'll definitely be different. And different doesn't mean bad.
no. A lot of
Different doesn't
people
mean
are
bad.
scared of change. That is something a lot of people feel, and it can be scary. I mean, who are we to say that change doesn't scare us at times? Every time that you get into a habit or a routine, it creates stability, which creates comfort. Okay, then you want to go around and start a new routine, and they say to be successful you need to step outside your comfort zone, right? So it's to give yourself that feeling of what's normal and what's not within yourself, because you might get a little nervous, but that doesn't mean you're having an anxiety panic attack, you know. So it's get to comfortable with yourself. You know what you need and what tools you might need to ask for, because you always say ask for the help that you need, right? So somebody might be giving you a hammer and you don't need a hammer, you need a screwdriver. So what then? Or they're trying to give you some power tool but you
I'm
don't have
gonna
an
take
outlet.
I'm gonna take your hammer. And if I keep telling you 1,000 times I need a screwdriver and still you give me the hammer, I'm gonna take your hammer and I'm gonna trade it for a screwdriver. I'm gonna be
Or
like,
they give you a
listen,
power tool and you don't have an outlet. Like, come on, what am I gonna do with this, man?
but change happens. And when you learn that early on, well, for me, and I could only speak for myself, learning that early on helps me navigate different changes that happen within my body and as I age. I don't look the same that I did 20 years ago. You know, my features, they're similar, but they don't look the same like,
Yeah.
20 years ago. Not even my hair.
It's
And
even
now that I
crazy. I
let this
can't
go
even
in.
say that. If I say, oh yeah, so 20 years ago, I would be Anaya's age. I'd be 2 or 3. If I say
Yeah,
sooner,
but you
I'd be
weren't
2.
you're not the same person when you were 18, when you
That's
first
true.
ventured out into the adult world. There's some of my friends that they put that meme, adulting is the dumbest thing I've ever decided to do.
Word it is,
And
because you
after a
can't go back.
while, we all feel that way. But here we are.
And
Here
you
we
learn
are.
from it. I kind of like how the sunflower on your head almost looks like a ray of fire. Like it reminds me of like Anaya. I don't know. Like sometimes her hair is so curly crazy, but she's like my little sunshine. So it's just so cute. But oh, something interesting. When it comes to change, it's called like fluidity almost, right? So when you're looking at the yin and yang symbol, the key is to be the line in the middle. Is to be the line in the middle, not the black and not the white, because you can't know one without the other. So it's like you're trying to balance it out, as above, so below. You need to be the line in the middle, and all that is, and then all that isn't, is all one. It's like everything is one. You are what you believe in. So if you believe in a higher power, then that's true for you. If you don't, then it's not true for you. Like whatever you create, it's like a blank canvas. And ever since you started developing skills throughout life, like motor skills, creative skills, whatever builds your personality, you're drawing more and more on that canvas. And you might erase, but you take more and more and more. So that's kind of how I see it. So yeah, I might have low moments, but it's almost like the stock market. It'll even out eventually, right? Hopefully, we hope. If we and then when you just keep trying and trying, eventually you're gonna have to do progress. You're gonna have to. You can't just keep doing the same things over and over and not progress at least a little bit somewhere.
Well, the
Whether
thing
it's
is that you
making the
become
bed.
really good at what you do repetitiously. So if you continue to do a thing repetitiously, you really become good at that thing because you can't get any worse at something that you practice. You could
Yep.
only get better at whatever that thing is that you're doing over and over again. And if you're really truly determined to create a brand new you, it will eventually happen, especially when you have strategies, one thing that you do different every day. It
Or
doesn't,
you have a good support system too, right? Because that's
it's
important.
necessary. It's necessary because you have to be your own support system in the beginning because nobody's going to do it but you, for you. And then if you do have someone rooting you on in the beginning, you're like, yeah, whatever. You're just saying that to be nice. You're just saying that so I don't kill myself. You're just saying that so I don't eat this whole tub of ice cream. You're just saying that so I don't smoke myself or drink myself to death. You're just saying that because you love me. So in the beginning, it doesn't sound too real. The support is like, oh yeah, oh yeah. But as you start leveling up, and it's not leveling up like huge steps, it's micro steps, little tiny steps. That means you were further and closer than you were yesterday.
Yeah.
So it takes a while. What does, if anybody in the audience is listening in on the replay, what does being a brand new you mean to you? What does that look like? What are you trying to change about yourself? We've created the group Hello Chime In on Facebook so that way you can get supported and put in comments in there so we can have participation and interaction. What does a brand new you look like? What are
I
your
know.
plans?
Yep. That's a great question, because when you get faced with that question, it's like a lot of different answers can come about. Everybody's answer is likely to be different. It could be so many different things. Like for me, a brand new me, I just wanted to change my relationships that I've had with people, the way that I view them. I want to have more emotional control, more mental stability, more financial stability, more leveling out in life instead of being such a roller coaster in every area: friendships, relationships, money, jobs, career, school. Like everything has always been like up and down, up and down. I want stuff to like kind of level out. Yes, there's going to be ups and downs, but they don't have to be hills and mountains. I mean, holes and mountains. What is that terminology they say?
Peaks, valleys, and peaks, or something like
Valleys
that.
and
Peaks.
peaks, whatever that terminology saying is. I wanted things to be level, and then when things are level, I can determine from there where I want to go. So that's what becoming a brand new me looks like. I've done bad, I've done good. I know that I prefer to do good and that I'm a good person. So, what do I take from that? Well, let me level everything out. Let me get everything to a stable point. Maybe not great, but not horrible, and decide. So that's my answer. That's just an example. But that what does it look like for you when you decide you want to become brand new?
Well, I look at myself as a whole, and sometimes I get greedy with myself. Like I can fix 25 things, but I can really just focus on one thing and have three things on the list to pick from. So it's like I can take care of three friends really, really well than 25.
Yeah.
Like I can't spread myself out so thin while I'm working on myself. So I need to have like the key players, like the key support people, or like just key steps that I need to take. For instance, if I want to lose, 50 pounds over the next year, at least let me cut out, bread, or let me cut out McDonald's. One small thing that gets me closer and closer. So to me, it's the seeing the whole forest, because sometimes I need to write it all down. I need to get like a notebook and just vomit on it mentally, like, and then go through it and then pick and choose, because
Yeah.
you can get overwhelmed. I feel comfortable writing it all down because it feels like I'm emptying my brain. Let me get every thought as fast as I can write it out. So my handwriting is usually not pretty when I'm doing one of those things. I just write, take it all out, and then I take a little break. Sometimes the same day, sometimes the next day, and then I go through it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, did I really write that? Did I really, what's the three most important things for me to work on right then and there? And I'll circle three, knowing that I can only really master one of them. However, with the option of three things, I can say, you know what, on Monday, I can work on doing my hair or getting a new hairstyle. On Tuesday, I can work on my food. On Wednesday, I can organize myself and then just repeat those again.
It's building a schedule for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It's like building the foundation all over again. That's why with like parenting, you try to get your kids into habits that you want them to exhibit early on in life. Like organization or whatever you feel like you're
Knowing
lacking.
that there's no guarantees though,
Yeah,
because
because
you
they're
can
going to
teach
be.
your kids, you can have a great relationship with your partner, you can have a bad relationship with your partner that you're trying to fix. There's really no guarantees. You cannot truly control another person. The beauty of it is that when you do connect with like-minded, heart-centered, spirit-led individuals, that connects you deeper. There's a compassion that's practiced in there, like, okay, let me help
And I
her
think
or him
that
along.
once you have like bonded on certain levels, that almost anything can happen, and people who are meant to be will find their way back. And that's not just about love relationships, like romantic relationships. That's about friends, that's about family, like whatever, and opportunities and jobs and everything that you could pose the question of like, what do I do? Whatever is meant to be will be yours. So if it does fade or you veer from that path, you'll get brought back and you'll keep getting brought back over and over. I feel like if it's a real foundation until you burn that bridge. So you don't want to do that. But it's
Yeah,
definitely
some
something
bridges
you
that
go
you
through.
burn you can't cross over. But the biggest thing too is forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for messing it up. Forgive yourself for messing you up. Sometimes that is what catapults you into a brand new you. There are some accidents that can occur that change your life forever or take your life, but or and I just want to stay with the part with change it forever. There's something that could have happened that now you lost a limb, or you fell and you hurt your face, you broke a hip, or you don't walk the same, or you don't speak the same, you don't look the same. Forgive yourself. You could only know what you could know at that point in time in your life, and you could only receive the messages that you're ready for. That's why some things you repeat over and over and over again. Hence the message that I gave you, Uvelka. When you get to the point that you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, that's when maybe you'll change. Maybe, because there's no guarantees.
Yep. And it's just like what you said, like you're gonna keep going through the same things until you learn the lessons that you're supposed to learn. So that's why we see some people who get stuck, and it's like a time capsule. Like they get stuck in this certain cycle until eventually they break free years later, only to realize, oh my gosh, 10 years ago, this is what I did. This is what I looked like. And I just wasted that. Trying to, not wasted it, because you can get positive like lessons from all the
But
times you
that's
go
what it
through things.
feels like.
But it
When you
feels like, yeah,
realize it, it
depending on
feels like
how
you
long,
wasted it.
if you're on a person, if you're talking about a specific person, it could be any type of relationship, and all they do is drain you, whether it's a good vibe sometimes or it's not. If it just feels like more times than not they drain you, then you're going to look back on, even if it just be 2 years or it could be 7 years, however long you're dealing with this person, you're going to look back on it and be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I just felt like so blah around this person, and I wasted so much time. If I just didn't put so much into energy, even sometimes just being around people, if I didn't put so much energy into this and I put that energy into me or to my dream or my business or whatever I got going on, then it would have just been so different. But you learn from that and you're like, okay, so now I need to be more careful with my time management. If I can make $10 an hour sitting on my couch at home doing social media or music, then that means that I can't spend 3 hours with somebody who's not doing better than me or the same level as me and same goals. Because that's $30 then of my time that I just wasted. It's like you literally start to look at life as a bit, not a business deal, not every moment, but like certain things when it comes to your time and investing and succeeding. When you really choose, like, I'm gonna focus on myself, and if that means I do better, that means I do different. Like whoever can see that in me, I'm gonna keep close to me. That's like, it's a whole journey, and you think that you've got it, and every time you think you've got it, you got a new chapter, and it's not bad or good, it's just new, and you're like, okay. It's like
Yeah,
it
and
took you
hold
off
on
guard.
tight. Hold on tight to those that are around you that lift you up in the mood that you're feeling. You know, it's important. You'll find friends in the most unlikely spaces. There's a group that I'm a part of on YouTube that supported me through a very difficult journey in my life. And it wasn't a space where my family members were there or any other co-workers or constituents. It was a whole group of strangers. We all started out as strangers and ended up as friends. Sometimes it's the category which are grouped under, you know, like it could be a baby loss, so you're all grouped together. There's a support group for that. It could be weight loss. It could be, you know, waking up one day knowing that, hey, I might have to have a major surgery that's going to change my life, whether that's losing an organ, losing a part of your body that you're so accustomed to. You can find a support group in that area and just forgive yourself and leave an open mind on meeting strangers. We were all strangers to each other once until we got to know each other and became
Yeah.
friends. Even when a child is born, the child knows you in the womb, you know, if you're a mom or a birthing person, but you still have to build a relationship and get to know. So the relationship is strange in the beginning, new, untouched, but then you develop that. Leave
Yeah.
yourself open. Leave yourself open to get that good vibe feeling, that support for someone who's rooting for your success.
And it
Even if
poses
it
another question, like, what do you want yourself to look like in your success when you change? Like, what, not just what does a new you look like, but what do you actually want yourself to represent? What do you want yourself to stand for? What values, what, like how you told me, what rules do you have that you don't bend, break, or fold? Like, what, when people say your name, what do they think of? What 3 words? That's a good exercise to do if you have a quick pen or if you want to comment. When people think about you, what do you want the first 3 adjectives to be? and then you go from there. Like, I want these three adjectives, and then that kind of helps you break down from those 3 points. Like you said, three things. So start with three adjectives and break it into three things to get yourself closer and closer. And then you have the routine. Then you have your self-care. Then you have your support system. Then you have, whatever personal, your faith or not, or whatever you believe in, what practices you preach to your circle.
And it's not an overnight thing. It's
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 not.
not an immediate thing. Some things can, but all good things take time. All good things take an effort. There's never been a diamond or a gem created that wasn't put under pressure. So it's that's all a part of life. For
Yeah.
some, for some reason, whatever the reason is, if we can recall it or not, we all signed up for this. We all said, yes, we want to be here. And yes, we want to come into the space through these people.
And
And here
try.
we are. And although we might not have the answers to everything, because we all would love to have the answers, we just need a little bit of faith, a little bit of that knowing of the unknown, hoping of what we can't see, and just being firm in our willingness. Like, I know I'm going to give it my best shot no matter what. I know whatever comes my way, I'm going to do the best that I can to overcome, to adapt, to adjust, to achieve small goals along the way. And just to make sure that, I give it my all. I know that I would do that. It might not be the best, and I might be down 2 days out of 7, but I will still push forward. And that's just the convincing that you need to give yourself. When
Yeah,
you're
and
looking for a
sometimes
brand new you.
I agree. And sometimes you don't know what that looks like. Sometimes you have to just say, listen, I'm just going to go with the flow of the day and of life, because I know I'm going to take a step and I just hope it's in the right direction, because I don't know where I'm headed, but I know where I've been. And that's like the realest thing. I don't know where I'm headed. I know where I've been. So let me just take a step. And sometimes you fumble and sometimes you don't. So it's all about taking the step. And then when you get your support system, there's people who will take those steps with you, or who will wait for you at the other side of your battles. Like, I knew you could do it. Here's the water. Like, like you have your tribe of people, like you said. Like, you have your moments, your small moments and time spaces of weakness. But you know that doesn't make you weak. That makes you strong, because anybody who feels weak and gets back up and does it again, and then gets knocked down and then feels weak but still gets back up, that's what shows courage and strength. It's not the lack of fear, it's the continuing to do and go on even in the presence of fear. So even
Yeah,
if you
because
have
there's no
anxiety,
courage without fear.
exactly. Even if you have anxiety, even if you have depression, even if you have some type of mental health that you're going through, or physical health problem that you're going through, or you feel alone, no support, whatever you're going through, there's something there. There's a remedy, and you just have to take one step. And it doesn't even have to be in the right direction. You just have to take one step towards the right person, maybe.
Or just one step out of this situation, because whatever you try from a different angle has to be better than what you just came from.
Yeah. And
If you
then
can't
certain
do a whole
situations,
sink full of dishes, do one plate.
at least
Just
you did
one.
something, right? You're trying. And it's like certain situations, the only way you can go is up, right? So you might as well. Hey, do I want to keep walking in circles, or should I try to step up? Like, it's like when you run the mile run in high school or middle school and you keep going around and around, you can't wait for the last lap. It's like, do I want to keep waiting for the last lap, or do I want to just book it and go up? Like, let me just give it all I got.
It's all a choice. We do have choices, especially on this journey for a brand new you. What does that look like? Where do you start? Wash your face, put some lotion on, take care of it, look at it. What I'm doing now is looking at my face, how it ages, where is the changes occurring, and just love this
What?
new part of me.
Sometimes it comes from doing good deeds, which sounds really cheesy, but honestly, doing good deeds for strangers. Like, I know sometimes when I have an extra dollar, I'll give it if somebody needs it, if it looks like somebody needs it, or if I need to hold the door open, like just like little acts of kindness. And then my daughter, because she's at the age now where she's like starting to reflect and talk a lot about her day. She's very reflective of her day and what she saw and heard. So I know that up until this point, I've put a lot of good into her. And it like shows back because in the beginning you kind of don't know what you're doing, and I think a lot of people don't, and you just give it your best shot, and you're like, okay, well, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to give it the best shot I got. And you just keep giving it your best shot until one day they look back at you and they're like, "Hey, you did a good job." And you're like, "What? Thanks." Like, you could actually say that now. Like, "I love you." You're like, "Oh, I love you too." Like, it's so nice to hear, and you get into your own swing of things. Like, there's little things in life that make it worth living. So every rainy day there has a rainbow. Like the promise that there will be, this too shall pass. Everything shall pass one day.
Exactly. Thank you so much for your wisdom, Yuvelka, for sharing this time with me this evening. Thank you to all those that have been watching and stood with us as we had this conversation. Please do all that you can for a brand new you. Know that in this space, you are supported. We will root you on if you share with us your journey. And please feel free at any time to say hello and to chime in, chime in, chime in. Thank you. Good
Bye.
night,
Good
wherever
night.
you are in the world. Bye bye.